Tupelo, Mississippi, the hometown of a legend. Here, a young man encountered music and love.
As soon as anyone saw him with a guitar and playing, it was like, yeah, you knew that that's what he was going to do, and he was going to do it in a big way.
His sweetheart, at that time, Dixie. She was well known only at the high school prom. Sun Studio in Memphis. Elvis wanted to make a record as a surprise for his mom's birthday. He paid $4 for his first record. America in the 50s. Still often divided into black and white, even in music. The whites labeled rhythm and blues ethnic music. Only a few white men go for black music, like Sam Phillips, the head of Sun Studio.
My real ambition was to find a white person that could give the feel that a black person, southern black person, gave to all their music. In Elvis, I found it.
Phillips still remembered the boy who wanted to record a song for his mother. He invited him to do a pilot recording, but the debut was not too successful. Apart from never-ending ballads and some country songs, Elvis didn't have anything else to play. Phillips was disappointed.
Well, we had tried a long time to get what we wanted, and we were about ready to go home that night. I walked out of the studio into the control room. Elvis did his guitar, flipped it a couple of times, and started saying, "That's all right, Mama." And I turned around and said, "What in the hell are you doing? Why have you waited so long?" You know?
The rhythm guitarist became excited. Sam Phillips looked like a different man. Finally, he had found the music he'd always dreamt of. A radio station in Memphis played Elvis' first real record already that week.
And of course it was phenomenal, you know, just from the very beginning. The phones rang off the hook at the radio stations, you know, asking for play. So it just was like it was shot out of a cannon.
A new star on the musical horizon. And not only the music itself, but his body language had an effect as well. Where could you see such hip movements, such gyrations? For certain people, it was shameless, while for others, it was irresistible.
I bent over to Scotty, I said, "You know," I said, "I think Elvis is hot."
Mainly women thought this way. The young man from Memphis soon became a sex symbol and a new emblem of freedom.
Young people that didn't have a category of music they could call their own. When Elvis was heard by these people, they knew that they had found their musical messiah.
Parents, on the other hand, thought he was a creature from hell. They had never seen their children like that before. The authorities were not inactive either. They recorded everything.
They filmed the entire performance, and they were ready so they would have some evidence if he was what they called lewd on stage. And Elvis played up to that. He came out, I'll never forget, and he came out like he was handcuffed. And he just stood there and he would just wiggle his little finger and the girls would go crazy.
The new music was called rock and roll and had a lot of enemies. The well-bred America. Elvis with African music demented the young people. But it was already impossible to stop him. Elvis' first TV performance divided the nation into two parts.
By the time he got to the Ed Sullivan Show, it was the cameras were instructed to just film him from the waist up.
Uncle Sam wanted to keep the rebellious in check. Elvis was drafted. He served his time, at least not to lay himself open to the enemies. Was it at all possible to make the king of rock submissive? 1st of October, 1958, a crucial day. Elvis had arrived in Germany and gave a performance as well. Emotions were stretched to the breaking point.
Of course, he meant to be something absolutely new to Germans, mostly to the young people. This was the first time when music was addressed to young people. It was tempting, at least, because their elders didn't approve. It was a kind of rebellion.
After the Second World War, not one military officer had as many fans. The King of Rock and Roll was in basic training. It was a bit colder in Hessen than in Tennessee. In such places, people often had crazy ideas.
He was on maneuvers, and to keep him awake, guys would come around and say, Elvis, here's a couple of bennies. They call them bennies, a couple of Benson This will keep you awake, give you a little energy.
His term of service was over. At the airport, the young 14-year-old Priscilla Ballou, the daughter of an American Air Force officer, sent him off.
She was so young. She was just a child. She was not a whole lot different than I was during that time. So I was excited for him that he had found someone that would love him and be there for him.
Elvis took Priscilla as his wife, became a father, and was not as committed to his old image. He earned a lot of money with fumbling movies, and empty songs marked his fading.
It was very tragic. He didn't take care of himself. He didn't watch his diet. He had a chemical dependency on prescribed medication.
In the 70s, in Las Vegas, Priscilla deserted the ill star. He was looking for himself in glittering costumes on stage. Summer of 1977, the last concert. The idol is just a strange, disfigured copy of himself.
Every highway knows it's more than this.
Elvis began to depend on drugs too much. I mean, once he started down, I mean, it really did, it moved fast.
16th of August, 1977. Elvis was dead. His heart could not hold out against the drugs any longer. His fans couldn't believe that the king was dead and gone.
It just couldn't be. It was just the hardest thing to believe that he had actually died. It was a sad, dark day for everybody.
Elvis Presley lived only 42 years.
Elvis didn't open the door. He kicked it down and we walked through.
A young man whose voice marked a new era.
Everything's so long, never die.